Welcome back to another live stream. Now today I'm going to be reading First Samuel chapter 11 all the way to chapter number 21. So 11 chapters will be read today. I already read First Samuel chapter 1 to 10 a few hours ago. So now I'm going to read First Samuel chapter 11. Then Nahash the Amorite came up and encamped against Gabish Gilgad. And all the men of Gabash said to Nahash, "Make a covenant with us, and we will serve you." And Nahash the Amorite answered them, "Oh, this condition I will make a covenant with you, that I may put out all your right eyes and bring reports on all Israel." Then the elders of Gabash said to him, "Hold off for 7 days, that we may send messengers to all the territory of Israel, and then, if there is no one to save us, we will come out to you." So the messengers came to Gibeah of Saul and told the news in the hearing of the people. And all the people lifted up their voice and wept. Now there was Saul coming behind the herd from the field, and Saul said, "What troubles the people that they weep?" And they told him that the words of the men of Gabish. The Spirit of the God came upon Saul when he heard this news, and his anger was greatly aroused. So he took a yoke of an ox and cut them in pieces, and sent them throughout all the territory of Israel by the hands of the messengers, saying, "Whoever does not go out with Saul and Samuel to battle, so it shall be done to his oxen." The fear of the Lord fell on the people. They came out with one sin. When he numbered them in Birsach, the children of Israel were 300,000, and the men of Judah were 30,000. And they said to messengers who came, "Thus you shall say to the men of Gilead, tomorrow by the time sun is hot, you shall have help." Then the messengers came and reported to the men of Gabish, and they were glad. Therefore the men of Gabish said, "Tomorrow we will come out to you, and you may do with us whatever seems good to you." So it was on next day the Saul put people in 3 companies, and they came into the midst of the camp in the morning watch, and killed Ammonites until the heat of the day. And it happened that those who survived were scattered, that no two of them were left together. And the people said to Samuel, "Who is he who said, Shall Saul reign over us? Bring the men, that we may put them to death." But Saul said, "Not a man shall be put to death this day, for today the Lord has accomplished salvation in Israel." Then Israel said to the people, "Come, let us go to Gilgal and renew the kingdom there." So all the people went to Gilgal, and there they made Saul king before the Lord in Gilgad. There they made sacrifice of peace offering before the Lord. And there Saul and all the men of Israel rejoiced greatly. Chapter number 11 is completed. Let me go to chapter number 12. Now Samuel said to all Israel, "Indeed, I have heeded your voice in all that you have said to me. I have made a king over you. And now here is the king walking before you, and I am old and gray-haired. And look, my sons are with you. I have walked before you from my childhood to this day. Here I am, witness against me before the Lord and before his anointed. Whose ox have I taken, or whose donkey I have taken, or whom I have cheated, whom I have oppressed, or for those whose hand I have received any bribe with which to blind my eyes? I will restore it to you." And they said, "You have not cheated us or oppressed us, nor have you taken anything from any man's hand." Then he said to them, "The Lord is witness against you, and his anointed is witness this day, that you may not found anything in my hand." And they answered, "He is witness." Then Samuel said to the people, "It is the Lord who raised up Moses and Aaron, who brought your fathers up from the land of Egypt. Now therefore stand still, that I may reason with you before the Lord concerning all the righteous act of the Lord, which he did to you and your fathers. When Jacob had gone into Egypt, and your fathers cried out to the Lord, then the Lord said, Moses and Aaron, who brought your fathers out of Egypt, and made them dwell in his place. And they forgot the Lord their God. He sold them into the hand of the Sisera, commander of the army of Azor, into the hand of the Philistines, and into the hand of the king of Moab, and they fought against them. Then they cried out to the Lord and said, We have sinned because we have forsaken the Lord and served the Baals and the Asherites. But now deliver us from the hand of our enemies, and we will serve you. And the Lord sent Jerubbaal, Bedan, Jephthah, and Samuel, and delivered you out of your enemies on every side, and you dwelt in safety. And when you saw that Nahash, the king of Ammonite, came against you, you said to me, No, but a king shall reign over us. And the Lord your God was your king. Now therefore, here is the king whom you have chosen, and whom you have decided. And take note, the Lord has set a king over you. If you fear the Lord and serve him and obey his voice, and do not rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then both you and your king will reign over you. Continue to follow the Lord your God. However, if you do not obey the voice of the Lord, but rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then the hand of the Lord will be against you, as it was against your fathers. Now therefore stand and see his great thing which the Lord will do before your eyes. Is today not the wheat harvest? I will call to the Lord, and he will send thunder and rain, that you may perceive and see that your wickedness is great, which you have done in the sight of the Lord in asking a king for yourself. So Samuel called to the Lord, and the Lord sent thunder and rain that day, and all the people greatly feared the Lord and Samuel. And all the people said to Samuel, Pray for your servant to the Lord your God, that we may not die, for we have added to all our sins the evil of asking a king for ourselves. Then Samuel said to the people, Do not fear, you have done all this wickedness, yet do not turn aside from the following the Lord, but serve the Lord with all your heart, and do not turn aside, for then you would go after empty things which cannot profit or deliver, for they are nothing. For the Lord will not forsake his people for his great name's sake, because it has pleased the Lord to make you his people. Moreover, as for me, far be it for me that I should sin against the Lord in ceasing to pray for you. But I will teach you the good and the right way. Only fear the Lord and serve him in truth, all your heart, for consider what great things he has done for you. But if you still do wickedly, you shall be swept away, both you and your king. Chapter number 12 is completed. Chapter number 13. Saul reigned 1 year, and when he had reigned 2 years over Israel, Saul chose for himself 3,000 men of Israel. 2,000 were with Saul in Mishmash and in mountains of Bethel, and thousands were with Jonathan in Gibeah of Benjamin. The rest of the people he sent away, every man to his tent. And Jonathan attacked the garrison of the Philistines that was in Geba, and the Philistines heard of it. Then Saul blew the trumpet throughout all the land, saying, Let the Hebrews hear. Now all Israel heard it said that the Saul had attacked a garrison of Philistines, and that Israel had become an abomination to the Philistines. The people were called together to Saul at Gilgal. Then the Philistines gathered together to fight with Israel, 30,000 chariots and 6,000 horsemen, the people as the sand which is on the seashore in multitude. And they came up and encamped in Michmash to the east of Beth Aven. When the men of Israel saw that they are in danger, then the people hid in caves, in thickets, in rocks, in holes, and in pits. And some of the Hebrews crossed over to Jordan to the land of Gad and Gilgal. As for Saul, he was still in Gilgal, and all the people followed him trembling. Then he waited 7 days according to the time set by Samuel. But Samuel did not come to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him. So Saul said, Bring a burnt offering and a peace offering to me. And he offered the burnt offering. Now it happened as soon as he had finished presenting the burnt offering, Samuel came, and Saul went out to meet him, and that he might greet him. And Samuel said, What have you done? Saul said, When I saw that the people were scattered from me, and that you did not come within the days appointed, that the Philistines gathered together at Michmash. Then I said, The Philistines now come down on me at Gilgal, and I have not made supplications to the Lord. Therefore I felt compelled and offer a burnt offering. And Samuel said to Saul, You have done foolishly. You have not kept the commandment of the Lord your God, which he commanded you. For now the Lord would have established your kingdom over Israel forever. But now your kingdom shall not continue. The The Lord has sought for himself a man after his own heart. The Lord had commanded him to be a commander over his people. Because you have not kept what the Lord had commanded you, then Samuel arose and went up from Gilgal to Gibeah of Benjamin. And Saul numbered the people present with him, about 600 men. Saul, Jonathan his son, and people present with them remained in Gibeah of Benjamin. But the Philistines encamped in Michmash. Then the raiders came out of the camp of Philistines in three companies. One company turned out the road to Ophrah to the land of Shur. Another company turned to the road of Beth Horon. And another company turned to the road of border that overlooks the valley of Zibon towards the wilderness. Now there was no blacksmith to be found throughout all the land of Israel. For the Philistines said, let the Hebrews make swords or spears. But all the Israelites would go down to the Philistines to sharpen each man's plowshare, his mattock, his axe, and his sackle. And the charge for the sharpening of was a pim for the plowshares, the buttocks, the forks, and the axes, and to set the points of the goats. So it came about on the day of the battle that there was neither sword nor spear found in the hand of any of the people who were with Saul and Jonathan, but they found with Saul and Jonathan his son. The garrisons of the Philistines went out to pass of Michmash. Chapter number 13 is completed. Let me go to chapter number 14. Now it happened one day that Jonathan, the son of Saul, sent the young man who bore his armor, come, let us go over to the Philistines' garrison that is on the other side. But he did not tell his father. And Saul was sitting in the outskirts of Gibeah under a pomegranate tree, which is in Migron. The people who were with him were about 600 men. Ahijah the son of Ahithob, Ichabod brother, the son of Philistines, the son of Eli, the Lord's priest in Siloam, was wearing an ephod. But the people did not know that Jonathan had gone. Between the passes by which Jonathan sought out to go over to the Philistines' garrison, there was a sharp rock on one side and a sharp rock on the other side. The name of the one was Borzas, and the name of the other was Sinah. The front of the one faced northward opposite Michmash, and the other southward opposite Gibeah. And Jonathan said to the young man who bore his armor, come, let us go over to the garrison of these uncircumcised. It may be that the Lord will work for us, for nothing restrains the Lord from saying, by many or by few. So his arm bearer said to him, do all this in your heart. Go then, here, I am with you according to your heart. Then Jonathan said, very well, let us cross over to these men, and we will show ourselves to them. If they thus to us, wait until we come to you, then we will stand still in our place and not go up to them. But if they say thus, come up to us, then we will go up, for the Lord has delivered them into our hands, and this will be a sign to us. So both of them showed themselves to the garrisons of the Philistines. And the Philistines said, look, the Hebrews are coming out of the holes where they have hidden. Then the men of the garrison called to Jonathan and his arm bearer and said, come up to us, and we will show us something. And Jonathan said to the arm bearer, come up after me, for the Lord had delivered them into the hand of Israel. And Jonathan climbed up on his hand and knees, his arm bearer after him, and they fell before Jonathan. And as he had came after him, his arm bearer killed them. That the first slaughter which Jonathan and his arm bearer made was about 20 men within about an half an acre of a land. And there was a trembling in the camp and in the field and among all the people. The garrisons and the raiders also trembled, and the earth quaked, so that it may be very great trembling. Now the watchmen of Saul in Gibeah of Benjamin looked, and there was a multitude melting away, and they went here and there. Then Saul said to the people who were with him, now call the roll and see who has gone from us. And when they have called the roll, surprisingly, Jonathan and his arm bearer was not there. And Saul said to Ahijah, bring the ark of the God here. Now it happened while Saul talked to the priests that the noise which was in the camp of the Philistines continued to increase. So Saul said to the priests, withdraw your hand. Then Saul and all the people who were with him assembled, and they went to the battle, and indeed every man's sword was against his neighbor, and there was a great confusion. Moreover, the Hebrews who were with them, the Philistines, before the time, who went up with them into the camp from surrounding countries, they also joined the Israelites who were with Saul and Jonathan. Likewise, all the men of Israel who had hidden in the mountains of Ephraim, when they heard that the Philistines fled, they also followed hard after them in the battle. So the Lord saved Israel that day, and the battle shifted to Beth Aven. The men of Israel were distressed that the day, for Saul had placed the people under oath, saying, cursed is the man who eats any food until evening, before I take vengeance on my enemies. So none of the people tasted food. Now all the people of the land came to the forest, and there was honey on the ground. And when the people had come into the woods, there was the honey dripping, but no one put his hand to his mouth, for the people feared the oath. But Jonathan had not feared his father's charge, the people with the oath. Therefore he stretched out the end of the rod that was in his hand, and dipped it in a honeycomb, and put his hand to his mouth, and his countenance brightened. Then one of the people said, your father strictly charged the people with an oath, saying, cursed is the man who eats the food this day. And the people were faint. But Jonathan said, my father has troubled the land. Look now, how countenance has brightened, because I have tasted a little of his honey. Now much better if the people had eaten freely today of the spoil of their enemies, which they found. For now would there not have been much greater slaughter among the Philistines. Now they have driven back the Philistines that day from Michmash to Ajalon. The people were very faint, and the people rushed on to spoil, took sheep, oxen, and calves, slaughtered them on the ground, and the people ate them with the blood. They told Saul, saying, look, the people are sinning against the Lord by eating with the blood. So he said, you have dealt treacherously. Roll a large stone to me this day. Then Saul said, disperse yourself among the people, and say to them, bring me here every man ox and every man's sheep. Slaughter them here. And eat, and do not sin against the Lord by eating with the blood. So every one of the people brought his ox with him that night, and slaughtered it there. Then Saul built an altar to the Lord. This was the first altar that he built to the Lord. Now Saul said, let us go down after the Philistines by night, and plunder them until the morning light, and let us not leave a man of them. And they said, do whatever seems good to you. Then the priest said, let us draw near to God here. So Saul asked the council of God, shall I go down after the Philistines? Will you deliver them into the hand of Israel? But he did not answer him that day. And Saul said, come over here, all your chiefs of the people, and know and see what this sin was today. For as the Lord lives, who saves Israel, though it be in Jonathan my son, he shall surely die. But not a man among all the people answered him. Then he said to all the Israel, you be on one side, and my son Jonathan I will be on the other side. And the people said, Saul, do what seems good to you. Therefore Saul said to the Lord God of Israel, give a perfect lot. So Saul and Jonathan were taken, but the people escaped. And Saul said, cast lots between my sons Jonathan and me. So Jonathan was taken. Then Saul said to Jonathan, tell me what you have done. And Jonathan told him and said, I only tasted a little honey with the end of the rod that was in my hand. So now I must die. Saul answered, God do so, and more also, for you shall surely die, Jonathan. But the people said to Saul, shall Jonathan die who has accomplished this great deliverance in Israel? Certainly not. As the Lord lives, not one of his hairs shall fall to the ground. For he has worked with the God this day. So the people rescued Jonathan, and he did not die. Then Saul returned from pursuing the Philistines, and the Philistines went to their own places. So Saul established his sovereignty over Israel, and fought against all his enemies on every side, against the Moab, against the people of Ammon, against Edom, against the kings of Zobah, against the Philistines, wherever he attained, He arrested them, gathered an army, and attacked the Amalekites, and delivered Israel from the hands of those who plundered them. And the sons of Saul were Jonathan, Jishua, and Malchishua, and the names of his two daughters were these. The name of the first one was Merab, and the name of the younger, Michal. The name of the Saul's wife was Ahinoam, the daughter of Ahimaaz. The name of the commander of his army was Abner, the son of Ner, Saul's uncle. Kish was the father of Saul, and Ner was the father of Abir, was the son of Abiel. Now there was a fierce war with the Philistines all the days of Saul. And when Saul saw any strong man or any valiant man, he took him to for himself. Chapter number 14 is completed. Let me go to chapter number 15. Chapter number 15. Samuel also said to Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint you king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore eat the voice of the words of the Lord. Thus says the Lord of hosts, I will punish Amalek for what he did to Israel, how he amused him on the way when he came from Egypt. Now go and attack Amalek and utterly destroy all they have, and do not spare them, but kill both man and woman, infant, nursing child, ox and sheep, camel and donkey. So Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Chelayam, 200,000 foot soldiers and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to the city of Amalek and lay in wait in the valley. And Saul said to the Kenites, go depart, get down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For you showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. So Saul attacked the Amalekites from Avila all the way to Shur, which is the east of Egypt. He also took Agag, king of Amalekites, alive and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of his sheep, the oxen, the fattings, the lamb, and all that was good, and were unwilling to utterly destroy them, but everything despised and worthless that they utterly destroyed. Now the word of the Lord came to Samuel, saying, I greatly regret that I have set up Saul as a king, for he has turned back from following me and has not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried out to the Lord all night. So when Samuel rose early in the morning to meet Saul, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul went to Carmel, and indeed he set up a monument for himself, and he has gone around and passed by and gone down to Gilgal. Then Samuel went to Saul, and Saul said to him, Blessed are you of the Lord, I have performed the commandment of the Lord. But Samuel said, What then is the bleating of the sheep in my ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear? And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites, for the people spared the best of the sheep and the oxen to sacrifice to the Lord your God, and the rest we have utterly destroyed. And Samuel said to Saul, Be quiet, and I will tell you what the Lord said to me last night. And he said, Speak on. Samuel said, When you were little in your own eyes, were you not head of the tribe of the Israel? And did not Lord anoint you king over Israel? And now the Lord sent you a mission and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners of the Amalekites, and fight against them until they are consumed. Why then did you not obey the voice of the Lord? And why did you swoop down the spoil and do the evil in the sight of the Lord? And Saul said to Samuel, But I obeyed the voice of the Lord and gone on to the mission on which the Lord sent me, and brought back Agag the king of Amalek. I have utterly destroyed Amalekites. But the people took the plunder, sheep and oxen, the best of the things, which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice to the Lord your God in Gilgal. So Samuel said, As the Lord has great delight in your burnt offering and sacrifice, and in obeying the voice of the Lord, behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to eat that the fat of the rams, for rebellion is the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is an iniquity of idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he also has rejected you from being king. Then Saul said to Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord your gods. I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord and your words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. Now therefore please pardon my sin and return with me, that I may worship the Lord. But Samuel said to Saul, I will not return you, for you have rejected the word of the Lord. The Lord has rejected you from being king over Israel. And as Samuel turned around to go away, Saul seized the edge of his robe, and it tore. So Samuel said to him, The Lord has torn the kingdom of Israel from you today, and has given it to the neighbors of yours, who is better than you. And also the strength of the Israel will not lie nor relent, for he is not a man that he should relent. Then he said, I have sinned, yet honor me now, please, before the elders of my people and before Israel, and return with me, that I may worship the Lord your God. So Samuel turned back after Saul, and Saul worshipped the Lord. Then Samuel said, Bring Agag, the king of the Amalekites, here to me. So Agag came to him cautiously. And Agag said, Surely the bitterness of death is past. But Samuel said, As your sword has made woman childless, so shall your mother be childless among women. And Samuel hacked Agag in pieces before the Lord in Gilgal. Then Samuel went to Ramah, and Saul went up to his house at Gibeah of Saul. And Samuel went no more to see Saul until the day of his death. Nevertheless, Samuel mourned for Saul, and the Lord regretted that he made Saul king over Israel. Chapter number 16. Now the Lord said to Samuel, How long will you mourn for Samuel? Chapter number 16. One second. Let me see my screen. Now the Lord said to Samuel, How long will you mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reign over Israel? Fill your horn with oil and go. I am sending you to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided myself a king among his sons. And Samuel said, How can I go? Saul hears it, he will kill me. But the Lord said, Take a heifer with you and say, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Then invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what you shall do. You shall anoint for me the one I named to you. So Samuel did what the Lord said, and went to Bethlehem, and the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, Do you come peacefully? And he said, Peaceably, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Sanctify yourself and come with me to the sacrifice. Then he consecrated Jess and his sons and invited them to sacrifice. So it was when they came, he looked at the Eliba and said, surely the Lord anointed is before him. But the Lord said to Samuel, do not look at his appearance or his physical stature, because I may refuse him. For the Lord does not see a man sees, for a man looks at outward, but the Lord looks at the heart. So just called Abinab and made him pass before Samuel, and he said, neither has the Lord chosen is this one. And just made the Shammah pass by, and he said, neither has the Lord chosen this one. Thus just made 7 of his sons pass before Samuel, and Samuel said to Jess, the Lord has not chosen these. And Samuel said to Jesse, all are all the young men here? Then he said, there remains yet the youngest, and there he is, keeping the sheep. And Samuel said to Jess, send and bring him, for we will not sit down till he comes here. So he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, with bright eyes and good looking. The Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is the one. Then Samuel took the horn of the oil and anointed him in the midst of his brothers. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel arose and went to Ramah. But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and a distressing spirit from the Lord troubled him. And Saul's servant said to him, surely a distressing spirit from God is troubling you. Let our master now command over your servants who are before you to seek out a man who is skillful player of a harp. And it shall be that he will play it with his hand when the distressing spirit from God is upon you, and you shall be well. So Saul sent his servants, provide me now a man who can play well, and bring him to me. Then one of his servants answered and said, look, I have seen a son of Jess the Bethlehemite, who is skillful in playing, a mighty man of valor, a man of war, prudent in speech, and a handsome person. The Lord is with him. Therefore Saul sent messengers to Jess and said, send me your son David, who is with your sheep. Jess took a donkey loaded and with bread, a skin of wine, and a young goat, and sent them by his son David to Saul. So David came to Saul and stood before him, and he loved him greatly, and became his arm bearer. Then Saul sent to Jesse, saying, please let David stand before me, for he has found favor in my sight. And so it was, whenever the Spirit from God was upon Saul, that David would take a harp and play it with his hand, that Saul would become refreshed and well, and the distressing spirit would depart from him. Interesting chapter. Chapter number 16 is completed. So let me go to chapter number 17. I think I got a little work to do, so I'll stop at First Samuel chapter 16. But I'll be coming back and be reading 17 all the way to 31. So thank you once again. I've not completed the task yet. I read only 6 chapters. I still got 5 more chapters to complete for today's task, but unfortunately, I got a little bit of work. So I'll be coming back and be reading from First Samuel from 17 all the way to chapter number 31. I think there are 31 chapters. Let me check it out. Yeah, 31 chapters. First Samuel has 31 chapters, so I'll be coming back and reading this chapter number 17. Thank you once again to chapter number 17 all the way to chapter number 31.